Hello everyone. I hope all of you are staying safe and healthy during these tough times. So my name is Vishal Bangade and today I'm going to present my master's project entitled Virtual Machine Scheduling for Tasks in Broker Assisted Mobile Cloud Computing. This project is supervised by Dr. Aryabhatta Sahu. So let's start. So for a mobile device, it will be having some limited computational resources. So because of its size. So if you want to perform any power hungry applications onto that particular mobile device, so let's say any application that requires more computation, then it might be difficult to execute onto the mobile device. Many problems such as heating will appear. So what we can do is we can take help of this remote cloud. So as you know what is cloud is, so there is something called as the cloud provider who will offer you some virtual machines or some resources, and you will pay some cost to that particular cloud provider. So various cloud providers are there, such as Amazon Web Services is there, and Microsoft Azure is there. So they provide various services such as platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. So similar concept is there in case of the mobile cloud computing. So how we can use it over here is our application is partitioned into number of smaller tasks, and then among those tasks we are going to offload some tasks onto the cloud and some tasks are executed locally. So depending on what is my mobile device energy consumption and what is budget, depending on all those factors, I'm going to decide which task to execute on mobile and which task to offload. And each task will be having some parameters such as arrival time, deadline, task size, execution time, priority, etc. So another major challenge for mobile users is once we decide that which task to offload onto the remote cloud, how to resolve those cloud resources for execution of those tasks. So if the mobile user uh, because a mobile user will be having a limited budget, right? So there must be some good strategy in order to reserve those resources from cloud provider. So we have considered all the above objectives as well as all the above problems that we discussed, and we proposed our broker assisted task scheduling, right? So this particular scheduling algorithm that we have proposed, it will provide the fair pricing to users, and it will at the same time it will maximize the broker's profit. Let's see that in detail. So the ma- uh, the cloud provider will offer two main types of resource offerings. One is on demand and next is reserved virtual machines. So these on demand virtual machines are pay as you go basis. That means you, you use that virtual machine, you pay for it, and you just release that virtual machine. So and then there is no upfront commitment fees. So that means there will be no like some standard 1 year plan or 3 year plan, something like that. So there will be having high cost, whereas for reserved virtual machines you have to pay some upfront commitment fees, which is which will be depending on your plan. So it will be subscription basis, and so it will be having some low cost, right? So we assume that all those resources that are provided by your cloud provider are having the same configuration. That means they will be having the same operating system, same tenancy support, same configurations. That means they are not convertible, and we will not be upgrading any of our resources in between for just for the sake of simplicity. And in order to implement our algorithm, we are making these assumptions, right? So now a broker node will reserve this reserve a chunk of resources from cloud provider, and then it will propose the pricing plan to the user. So if we consider our standard Amazon Web Services pricing plan, then as you can see here, if we go for the on-demand instance, then it will cost us $3.20 per hour. Whereas if we go for various upfront payment options such as no upfront, partial upfront, or all upfront. So these are standard 1 year subscription plans. So if in case of no upfront, as you see here, we don't have to pay any upfront fees, but since it is the commitment, we can avail the discount of 38% onto the reserved instances. Similarly, 41% on partial upfront, 42% on all upfront. So as we can see, as the upfront commitment increases, our discount also increases. So now, why do we need a broker? Why can't a mobile user simply use the resources from cloud provider and just pay for the resources that it is using? That means simply take resources and pay the price for those resources. Why do we actually need a broker in between? So first of all, mobile user will be having limited budget. So mobile user can't afford to reserve a large number of reserved virtual machines from this cloud provider and then starts using it, because for using each because for reserving a lot of capital is necessary, but a broker is having that capital. So a broker can invest in huge amount. So what he can do is he can pay some upfront price to cloud provider and buy some reserved virtual machines, and then at any time a broker will get multiple requests from multiple mobile users in order to execute its task, and then broker will execute those task requests and give some pricing plan to its subscribers, and all those tasks broker is going to execute onto its reserved virtual machine, as well as he will if required he will go for some on demand virtual machines, right? So now let's revise what is our objective, right? So reserved virtual machines should be utilized efficiently. So whatever the chunk of resources that are reserved by our broker, that should be utilized efficiently so that the broker's profit will be maximized, and each mobile user will receive a fair pricing policy. That means instead of going directly to the cloud provider, a mobile user should get a good pricing policy. That means he should get a fair pricing for each task that it is executing from broker. Another objective is to minimize number of on-demand instances. Why? Because obviously the price of this on-demand VM is higher compared to reserved VM. And then we also have to propose an efficient task scheduling algorithm. We have to manage and our virtual machines and such that the tasks are executed efficiently. And this is important, no task should miss its deadline, because we assume that each task from the user is critical, so no task should miss its deadline. And then once the reservation period is over, that means once the reservation period, let's say R, is over, then the our broker should use some dynamic strategies in order to make the new decisions for new virtual machines. So the one straightforward approach that comes to our mind is in order to achieve all those objectives is a broker will receive the request from multiple mobile users, right? It will receive requests from M1, M2 as well as M3. So what a broker can do is even he can pay some upfront price to the cloud provider and reserves a chunk of uh, virtual machines from cloud provider. So even a broker buys these virtual machines at 50% discount compared to on-demand instances, and it gives to mobile users with 30% discount. Then also our broker can earn 20% profit, right? 20% profit, right? So why can't we do like this? So the main reason is, since the broker will receive multiple requests from multiple users, what will happen is at a time t, what may happen is even after scheduling all the requests on reserved virtual machines, there might be some requests that are still outstanding, and the number of outstanding requests will be higher compared to number of requests that are scheduled onto these reserved VMs. So for all those requests, we have to reserve on-demand VMs. So it may so happen that number of reserved VMs are less than number of on-demand VMs, which is definitely not desirable. So what is the solution approach that we should take? So we our task that comes to the broker are having some priorities, like priorities from 1 to 10, discrete priorities from 1 to 10. So all the tasks that are having priorities higher than 5 are considered as high priority tasks, otherwise they are considered as low priority tasks. And then we can make use of these priority values to schedule those requests over either reserved virtual machine or on demand virtual machine. So all the high priority tasks that are from user are critical, as well as they are latency sensitive. That means high priority tasks we cannot delay, and they should be executed at their arrival time. They should be executed at their arrival time, right? However, for low priority tasks, they can be deferred for some time slots. That means if a low priority task, let's say RL, arrive at time T, then we can delay it and execute it at time slot, let's say T plus lambda. So this particular request RL, we have delayed till lambda time slots and we have executed at T plus lambda. But for high priority tasks, we have to execute it instantaneously. Now, since we are delaying this low priority request by delay slots lambda, it will be unfair if the broker charge same for high priority request RL as well as the high priority request high priority request RH. So there will be we should propose some fair pricing plan for each request, right? So what I mean to say is something like this. So if let's say I'm having 4 virtual machines, and at time slot 1 I'm having 2 requests, and all those 2 requests we are going to schedule on 2 virtual machines, so there will be no problem. One so let's say three requests, and then three we can schedule them on 3 virtual machines, and then 4th virtual machine is idle. But in this particular case, let's say we received 5 task requests, but we are having only 4 virtual machines. Then in such case, this particular one request will be missed, right? So what we can do is the execution of this particular task request, it can be delayed when our virtual machine will be idle. Virtual machine 4 will be idle, right? Like at this particular time slot 5, we can see that our 3 virtual machines are idle. So we can schedule this task over here, or we can schedule it in the future. And depending on how much we are delaying this task, our pricing should depend. Now this is our system model. So this little circle over here, it represents actions that are taken locally onto the mobile device. So mobile device will send some set of tasks to the offload algorithm, which will decide, which will give us the upload decision. That means which task to offload and which task not. So all the and then meanwhile, this particular cloud broker will pay some upfront price to the cloud provider and buy some reserved VMs, and then mobile user will offload the task, and cloud broker will execute those tasks using reserved VMs as well as using some on-demand VMs, and then give those executed tasks to the mobile user back with some pricing plan, right? Now these are some notations that we will be using next during the mathematical formulation, just for the sake of completion. Like this LT is the number of leased or reserved virtual machines at time T. This OT is the number of on-demand virtual machines at time T. This lambda is the delay tolerance parameter, like that. Now let's see the mathematical formulation of our problem. So profit of the broker. So this profit of the broker will be difference between broker's income or broker's revenue minus broker's investment cost PR cloud. Investment cost, where this investment cost will be PR cloud, which will be given by this formula. So it will basically contains two terms. So this first term over here, it will be the price that our broker is investing for on demand as well as reserved instances. So for t is equals to 1 to t, capital T, which is maximum time till which we will be running our algorithm. If LT, if so, if LT is the number of reserved instances, then this LT multiplied by T multiplied by delta will give us total amount for reserved instances, and this will give us total amount for on demand instances, and this sum will give us total investment cost for on demand as well as reserved instances. And for this particular term, this T upon R will give me how many reservation cycle this algorithm has run for. So, and after each reservation cycle or period is over, we have to renew our subscription. So after every reservation period is over, the broker has to pay additional charge gamma. So for those number of reservation cycles, broker has to pay this much extra. So this is total investment cost of the broker node. And then for the income of the broker, it is nothing but the sum from all the mobile users, sum of income from all the mobile users, where individual income from each mobile user will be for each time slot t is running from 1 to t. Let's say I'm allocating RHT, that means number of instances for high priority task, and RLT, number of instances for number of instances for low priority task. What is the pricing that we are charging from the user if that particular request I is delayed by Z time slots? So as we have seen earlier, we can defer the execution of low priority tasks by some time slot. So if a request is delayed by Z time slots, then what is the pricing that we are charging for that? This we are going to propose this pricing plan later. For now, just understand that this is something like price for that particular virtual machine I. So for each time, whatever the for each time whatever the number of request of low priority and high priority we are satisfying, what is the pricing we are giving to the mobile user, and the addition of all that will give me the income from each mobile user, and the sum of income from each mobile user, and if we are having m mobile users, then this will be total income of my broker. And then this additional term over here, this will indicate, let's say at each time from time t is equals to 1 to t, I have allocated OT instances. So this OT multiplied by PR max will denote what is the investment cost onto the on demand instances, and divide by n. So divide by total number of so total number of requests, right? So this is the normalized cost. So similarly, overall profit gained by your broker node will be difference between revenue and, as we discussed earlier, this is your investment cost. So our objective function will be to maximize profit of the broker by managing low priority requests at time t and high priority requests at time t using reserved instances as well as on demand instances. So now let's see our proposed solution. What is the solution that we have proposed? So allocate an on demand instance to a task if it is having high priority. For high priority task, since it is critical, we have to allocate a on demand instance. A low priority task can be executed on leased virtual machine or reserved virtual machines when it is idle and there are no high priority tasks to execute. So we can execute a low priority task on a reserved machine if and only if it is free, right? Next, reserved virtual machines are allocated for certain period. called as reservation period, and after each reservation period is over, the subscriber has to renew his plan by paying again this upfront fees. And then after each reservation period is over, we analyze TGR, which we will discuss later in this video, which is nothing but task guarantee ratio, and which talks about how many tasks we have missed in the previous reservation cycle. And we will our broker will determine upon how some better strategy to improve the TGR. And then this is the important thing: if a low priority task is deferred till its deadline, that means if we are delaying or deferring a low priority task till its deadline, then an on demand instance is allocated for it, so that no task should miss its deadline. So every task we have to execute within its deadline. Now a task is either executed locally or offloaded over a remote cloud. For any task T, this will always holds true. So let me explain this. So di is the deadline for the task I. So the deadline of the task should always be greater than its arrival time plus this term over here. It will indicate overall execution time of this particular task I, where this if where this et of I is the execution time for one unit of data multiplied by this size is nothing but what is the size of that task, which will give us what is the total size of this particular task, what is the total execution time of the task, and divided by rho cloud. This will be rho cloud is nothing but what is the operating frequency of virtual machine in the cloud that the remote cloud provider is providing. And only difference is this phi is the indicator variable. Phi of I is equal to 1, that means this particular task is offloaded to cloud. If equal to 0, that means it is the local task. So only the difference is this: there is this rho cloud and here is local core operating frequency. So the deadline of a task should always be greater than or equal to its arrival time plus its overall execution time. A task must be executed before its deadline. So depending on this, we can define the slack period of the task. So the slack period we can define as this tuple tmin comma tmax, where this tmax is di minus this overall execution time. So this is nothing but if phi I is equals to 1. So di, so this tmax is nothing but the deadline. Let's say for a particular task, if here it's here is deadline, then deadline minus its overall execution time, this term. So this tmax will be somewhere over here. So if we do not want our task to miss its deadline, then we must execute that task at max at time tmax, right? And tmin is nothing but arrival time of that particular task. So if the task arrives at this particular time, then this will be tmin, this will be tmax, and this will be deadline of our task. So a task must be scheduled within tmin to tmax to execute it before its deadline. So in order to understand it better, so as we define, this is tmin and this is tmax, right? So the slack period of the task defines the time duration within which we should execute our task. So in the best case, we can execute our task at its arrival time, which is nothing but the tmin. And in the worst case, we must execute our task at tmax. Anyway, we must execute our task over here. Why? Because if we don't execute our task here, then it will miss its deadline. So we can execute a task over here, then it will finish its execution somewhere over here. We can execute it over here, then it will finish its execution somewhere over here. We can schedule the task over here, then it will finish its execution somewhere over here. And if we schedule a task over here, then it will finishes its execution till dt, that means deadline of t. That means if we schedule this task at tmax, then only it will finish its execution at dt. But if we schedule it at any time after Tmax, then the task will finish its execution somewhere over here, which is after the deadline of the task, which is not desirable. Why? Because the task is actually missing its deadline. So we propose a pricing so depending on when we are scheduling a task between these two time slots, tmax tmin, between this slack period, tmin and tmax, we are proposing a pricing plan. So pricing, if a particular task is delayed by z time slots, will be pr max minus this term, where this lambda is the delay tolerance parameter, which is nothing but tmax minus arrival time of I, which is nothing but, so this, so let's say depending on the value of this z, our pricing will depend. So now let's analyze. So if this lambda, so if a task is delayed till this lambda value, that means tmax minus ati, that means if let's say task arrive at this particular point, and let's say it is delayed till tmax minus ati, so tmax minus ati will come here. Why? Because if the task is scheduled here, then it will be delayed by this current time tmax minus its arrival time minus ATI. So then this Z will become equal to lambda when we delayed a task till lambda, then this Z will become lambda, and then this lambda and lambda will be get cancelled, and then PR max minus PR max we will get 0. So if a task is delayed till T max, then we can then PR of Z will be 0. That means if we are delaying a task till its maximum delay tolerance parameter, then for such task, a broker will execute for free. That means broker will not take any charge for executing such a task. Whereas for a high priority task, broker must execute it when the task arrives. That means at tmin. So the slots by which our task get delayed will be, for example, for high priority task will be its current time tmin minus its arrival time, which is tmin, will be 0. So our z will be 0 in such case. So our pr of z will be pr max minus 0, which will be pr max. So for the high priority task, we should a broker should charge highest value for executing high priority task. So same we have discussed here. High priority task, PR of 0 equal to PR max. That means maximum cost for executing high priority task. And for low priority task, if it is deferred till T max, then we should charge it for 0. That means we should execute it for free. Why? Because if your low priority task is delayed till T max, we are penalizing our broker by the higher value. That means broker will not get any charge for that particular task if it is delayed till Tmax, because actually it is worst performance of a broker, so we have to penalize our broker. So depending on when we are executing our task between this slack period, we are scheduling our task between this task period, actually we will be getting some pricing plan. And the next thing is, if a low priority task is deferred till Tmax, then an on demand instance is allocated for its execution. Hence, broker is penalized with maximum cost. So, if a task is delayed, if a low priority task is delayed till its Tmax value, then from the user, we will be taking zero charge. But we will be, our broker will be allocating an on-demand instance in order to execute such task. So, a broker will be paying maximum value for such task. So, for such task, a broker will pay maximum penalty. So for such task, broker will have minus profit, minus PR max of profit, right? And then a low priority task is scheduled on reserved VM if and only if all high priority tasks at time t are already scheduled. So always we give preference to high priority tasks, and only if a reserved virtual machine is available after scheduling all high priority tasks, then we will be scheduling our low priority task. So now this will be our I am attaching some snippets of our algorithm. So first of all, our proposed task offloading decision. That means how the our mobile device will determine which task to offload onto the cloud and which task to execute locally. So it is implemented locally at each mobile user's end, and then simply it will compute T remote and T local. T remote is the time to execute that particular task remotely, which includes sending time, receiving time, and then this entire term, which is nothing but the execution time for this particular task onto the cloud, and this is nothing but the execution time of that particular task locally. So if the T local is very higher than T remote, that means amount of time required locally is very higher, then it is better if we offload the task. Otherwise the task should be executed locally. So how does our proposed scheduling algorithm will look like is, so let's look at step by step to our algorithm. So first, this will be our input and this will be our output. So T is the maximum of deadlines of all the tasks that we are having. This PQ low and PQ high, these are the two data structures that we will be using, min heap data structures actually. And then all these are the dvec is the data structure that we will be using to store each task and its delay slots. And finally our output will be profit of the cloud broker, in revenue of the cloud broker, as well as investment cost of the cloud broker. And this PQ low and PQ high, these are our mean heaps in which all the tasks are sorted with non-decreasing of Tmax, so that when we perform a pop operation or we remove a task from PQ low, or so this PQ low is the priority queue or min heap for the low priority task, PQ high for the high priority task. So when we remove a task from the PQ low, then we know in case of the min heap a minimum element will come up. So here the element or the task which will be having the minimum Tmax value will come up. So always we will see if the current time, if the Tmax, so always we will remove the task which will be having minimum Tmax value from PQ low as well as PQ high. So first of all requests at time T, we are going to push it into the PQ low or PQ high depending on its priority. Next step is, uh, first we check, first we will run this inner loop which will run till while PQ low is non-empty. That means we should have at least one low priority task in our priority queue or our min heap, and Tmax of PQ low top equal to T. So this is an important condition which will verify whether Tmax of PQ low top, that means whether the top, whether the current task in our min heap of low priority, whether we have delayed that particular task till Tmax or not. So if this current time T is equals to Tmax or not. So if this is the case, then we have delayed that particular low priority task till its Tmax value. So we have to execute that particular task. And then in order to execute that task, we have to allocate an on-demand instance. So we have updated this on-demand instance. We will remove this particular task. Then we will allocate an on-demand instance. So we will update the number of on-demand instance over here, and then in the this D vector, we will be pushing this particular value, which is nothing but this J task we have delayed till this much time slots. So j dot tmax minus arrival time of j. So this is the maximum. So this is the maximum delay tolerance. We have delayed this task j up to its maximum delay tolerance. And then this miss variable will indicate that it is a missed task. That means we have extended execution of this task till its deadline. So broker must be penalized for this particular task, and and it will it will lowers the TGR for that particular broker. Next, we will next we will examine all the reserved virtual machines while I is less than L of t, and then we will see. So we will be having the set of reserved virtual machines, right? And then we will be examining each reserved virtual machine in the linear manner, right? So we will go like this. So first we will examine our first reserved virtual machine. We will see if RES is free or not. So if this virtual machine is free, then first we will see if there is any outstanding high priority request or not. If there is outstanding high priority request, then we will allocate this particular reserved virtual machine to the high priority request, and then this load of RES, that means load of this particular current RES will be updated to T plus this term. So this term will indicate, so this term, as we have seen earlier, this is nothing but the execution time for that particular task, and T is nothing but the current time. So this load of RES, that means term over here, it will indicate what is the time at which this particular reserved virtual machine will become free. And then we are updating this particular count variable. So we will using this count variable over here, so we will see it later, right? So first, always next again we will increment this value of I. So always we will see if this particular RES is free or not. If this RES, if this particular reserved virtual machine is free, then we will see if PQ high is, that means if there is at least one task is available in high priority min heap or not. If it is available, then we are going to schedule it. But if it is not, let's say we have scheduled all the tasks that are present in our high priority min heap, then then but we have not reached till the end of our reserved virtual machines, then we will see if our mean heap of low priority request is empty or not. So if it is not empty, then we will schedule this low priority request onto that particular reserved virtual machine, and again the load of RES will be updated accordingly. And then since that particular low priority request we have delayed or deferred till t minus arrival time of ts, that means current time is t, and this particular task ts has arrived at 80 of ts time. So we have delayed by this time slots t minus 80 of ts. So we will push that into the delay vector for the further computation of our pricing. Once this is done, once this entire once we examine all the reserved virtual machines and allocated our high priority request or low priority request over those reserved virtual machines, then we see how many number of extra on demand virtual machines we will require. So among all the high priority requests that we received, this count request, high priority requests, are already scheduled. So now we require only this RHT minus CT number of on-demand instances in order to satisfy the need of this much outstanding high priority request. So total number of on-demand instances will be this term, right? Now, once this reservation period R is over, then depending on how our algorithm or our broker has performed, in the previous cycle, in the previous reservation cycle, how our algorithm has performed, we can then increase or decrease the number of reserved virtual machines, initial number of reserved virtual machines, right? So if there are more number of tasks that are missing till their Tmax value, then we should increase the number of reserved virtual machines like that. So this snippet over here, if T mod R equal to 0, that means if our current time T mod R, that means if our reservation period is over or not, we will check. So if this reservation period is over, then we will take here some strategic decisions. So here I have only updated this LT plus 1, that means number of reserved virtual machines in the next cycle will be updated accordingly. Initial number of reserved virtual machines plus miss multiplied by F, where this miss is number of tasks that are missed in the previous reservation cycle multiplied by this F. Now this F is something like reservation factor, we can say it reservation factor, and then the value of this particular parameter F we can set by using various learning algorithms such as polynomial regression or uh, so uh, we can either use learning techniques such as polynomial regression to set the value of f using some data set. So we can use some supervised learning such that if we are having, let's say, 50 number of tasks, and among those tasks, let's say we are missing out 12 tasks, and let's say the number of on-demand instances are, let's say, 8, then the value of this particular f will be, let's say, something like 0.5 or something like that. So we will be using some training set, and then we will train our classifier, and then we will predict the value of f using some learning algorithm after each reservation cycle is over. So the broker will repeat this same cycle till the time slot t, that which is nothing but a maximum time period. And once this maximum time period t is over, then whatever this defect data structure that we have used, in which we have pushed our task along with the how much by how much time slot we are delaying that particular task, we can use this particular defect data structure in order to then compute the pricing for each request. So how can we compute it? So we can iterate over this particular d vector, and then as we discussed our earlier pricing plan, we can compute our PRINC, which is nothing but the income from each mobile, which is nothing but income from all the mobile users. So we get the income from all mobile users by using this particular formula. This plus equal to will update for all the mobile users. And then next, in this PRINC, we will add this extra term that we discussed. That means on-demand investment, normalized on-demand investment cost. And then this PR cloud can be PR cloud can be computed, which is nothing but number of reserved instances multiplied by price for each reserved instance, number of on-demand instances multiplied by price for each on-demand instance, and number of subscription charges that we paid, and then profit for the broker can be calculated. So that's it. Here we end our algorithm, and then in order to measure the performance of our algorithm, we have used several benchmark algorithms. This instant scheduling algorithm we have already discussed earlier, in which all the tasks are scheduled instantly, and this energy aware scheduling, in which what we do what the what does the mobile device will do is, so mobile device will try to offload most number of tasks onto cloud in order to minimize the energy of that particular mobile device. So how the mobile device will do this is, it will then compute the power consumption. It will consider the power consumption. So mobile device will compute this PLOC and P cloud. So this PLOC is nothing but power consumption if that particular task is uh, uh, executed locally, and P cloud if it is executed over remote cloud, right? So this P cloud can be computed by using this particular formula. So this P cloud is nothing but what is the power consumption of mobile device actually, right? So this is for mobile device, power consumption for mobile device if it is executed onto the cloud. So it is nothing but what is the size of that particular task and what is t send. So this is nothing but amount of time required to send 1 byte of data. So that means it is nothing but the so this is so we have to send this much amount of data. So this is nothing but the bandwidth. So multiplied by transmission power. So this much data we have to so for this much time we have to transmit. So we have to multiply it with the transmission power, and then for again for this much time we want to receive the we want to download, and this is the transmission. Again, this is the transmission power. So this will be the power of mobile device, because if even though if a task is executed over the remote cloud, a mobile device power will be consumed for, let's say this is our broker. So a mobile device power will be consumed for offloading that particular task onto the broker and then receiving that particular task. So let's say if we assume that this is the communication channel with, let's say, bandwidth t send and t receive, then this will be the formula for the power consumption of this particular mobile device, right? The next benchmark algorithm is actually this virtual machine grouping algorithm, in which we set two threshold values t1 and t2, and we see what is the size of the task, and depending on the size of the task we will be assigning that particular task to one of the three groups of our virtual machines, and all the our available reserved virtual machines are classified into three categories: low MIPS, which is nothing but the set of all virtual machines having low operating frequency or low million instruction per second. This is mid MIPS, high something like mid operating frequencies, and this is high MIPS. And depending on what is the size of the task, if the size of the task is less than threshold T1, that particular task is will be scheduled over low MIPS group. Otherwise, for this particular condition, if it lies in T1 and T2, then it will be given to mid MIPS, otherwise high MIPS group. And within each group, that particular task will be allocated to that particular virtual machine that will be having lower waiting time. So if, let's say, this particular virtual machine will be available by let's say uh, 10, and let's say if this will be available by, let's say, 15 time slot, then and let's say this particular task arrives at time 8, then it will be that particular task will be allocated to this particular virtual machine, because waiting time will be 10 minus 8 is 2 time units. Again, on-demand VMs will be allocated if as and when required, as we see in case of our delay slot scheduling. So now, in order to evaluate the performance of our proposed algorithm with all the benchmark algorithms that we have seen, and in order to compare their performance, we have proposed various evaluation metrics. So first is the task guarantee ratio. So this task guarantee ratio will be what is the so this is the the goal of our broker will be always to provide better TGR and better pricing to its subscribers. So better the TGR, so lower. So if the broker is giving better TGR, that means it is deferring very less number of requests till its Tmax value. So the broker is better and it will attract more number of subscribers. Why? Because it is providing more task guarantee ratio. So this will be given by total task minus missed task divided by total task. So if the number of tasks that are delayed till Tmax are 0, then this sigma will be equal to, or TGR will be equal to, if it is 0, then it will be equal to total task divided by total task, which is nothing but equal to 1. So if no task is getting delayed till its Tmax value, that means no task is missed, then we are having better TGR. Similarly, resource utilization is nothing but the eta, total task minus on-demand virtual machines divided by total number of tasks. So this on-demand virtual, so this resource utilization will give me how efficiently we are utilizing the reserved virtual machines. So for for the total number of incoming tasks, if we are if the number of if on-demand virtual machines are 0, let's say our algorithm has allocated 0 on-demand virtual machines, then actually our algorithm is performing very much better. So our eta will be total task divided by total task, which is nothing but equal to 1. So resource utilization will be 1. That means all the reserved resources are very much efficiently utilized. Similarly, we are having this broker profit fraction. So this broker profit fraction is nothing but it is the ratio of profit of the broker to the investment cost of the broker. So what is the fraction at which broker is having is profit? So better. The so that means getting maximum returns on investment. This is investment and this is profit of broker, that means returns. So always the broker's goal will be to get uh, maximum returns on investment, that means getting maximum broker profit fraction. Similarly, mobile device power consumption, as we have seen earlier, and then other evaluation metrics, which includes this average price paid by mobile users, number of on-demand VMs, like that. And we have we will see shortly all the results for all those evaluation metrics. And all those benchmark algorithms and proposed algorithms are implemented in both broker as well as non-broker scenario. That means all the algorithms that we have discussed as well as our proposed algorithm, we have implemented at both broker. That means by using broker we have implemented that particular algorithm, and without using broker we have implemented that particular algorithm. And then we have simulated that particular all the experiments we have simulated by using these configurations, like. And then we have used this Google cluster trace dataset of tasks from real applications. So this is the dataset that we have used, Google cluster trace dataset, and it will consist of 1 million tasks and from 4 mobile users. So now let's see the results, experimental results. So this is the for reserved versus on-demand virtual machines from broker-based mobile cloud computing. So as we can see, if we increase the number of reserved virtual machines, then the number of on-demand virtual machines also decreases. But this decrease is very steep in case of our delay slot scheduling algorithm, right? So as we increase the number of reserved virtual machines, on-demand virtual machines in case of the reserved virtual machines will increase, and larger the number of reserved virtual machines, the better result we will get. Now, average price paid by users in case of the broker MCC. Again, we can see that in case of our proposed delay slot scheduling algorithm, average price that is paid by the mobile users will be the least, whereas in case of the energy aware algorithm, it will be highest, as in case of the energy aware our mobile device will try to offload more number of tasks onto the mobile device, onto the remote cloud. So uh, since we are offloading more tasks onto the remote cloud, broker will charge more value from us, and then it will be least in case of the delay slot scheduling, and intermediate for VM grouping algorithm. Now this is the broker profit fraction in case of the broker based mobile cloud computing. Again, if we see over here, then in case of the delay slot scheduling algorithm, it is for less number of reserved virtual machines. Actually the broker profit fraction is less compared to instant slot scheduling as well as virtual machine grouping algorithm, right? And then for energy aware scheduling algorithm, this particular curve is almost flat, because there is not much scope for optimization, as all the tasks are offloaded to cloud only, right? And then for as we see over here, the increase for VM grouping algorithm, as increase in broker profit fraction for VM grouping algorithm, as well as for instance slot scheduling algorithm, compared to those two algorithm, increase in the broker profit fraction for delay slot scheduling algorithm will be much higher once the number of reserved instances crosses 90. That means at this particular point. So after this particular point, broker profit fraction will increase for delay slot scheduling algorithm, right? So if the broker starts with higher number of initial reserved virtual machines, then in case of the delay slot scheduling algorithm, broker can have maximum profit, that means maximum return on investment, right? So this curve will grow if we again increase the number of reserved virtual machines, then this curve will will go something like this, and this curve will go something like this. So always it will be higher than uh, instant scheduling as well as all other scheduling algorithm, provided that number of reserved virtual machines will be higher. Now this is the TGR that we have obtained, table for TGR that we have obtained. If we are using 50 initial reserved virtual machines, and then if we start our algorithm by 60 reserved virtual machines, like that. So again, if we can, so this is actually 50, 60, this is 70, this is 80, this is 90, actually it's 100. So as we can see over here, as we increase the number of reserved virtual machines, the TGR will increase in all the three algorithms. Why? Because if we increase the number of reserved virtual machines, then there will be more. Then there will be more reserved virtual machines that will be available, and more. There will be less number of low priority tasks that will be delayed till maximum slack period value. That means Tmax. So the TGR that will be achieved will be better. But if we see here, that means let's say entry for 70, then 0.83, 0.58 and 0.90. That means TGR will be higher for VM grouping algorithm. Why? Because in case of our VM grouping algorithm, as we have seen earlier, in a particular VM group, we will assign the task to that particular virtual machine in the group that has the least waiting time. So there will be much less chance that this particular task will be delayed till Tmax value. Whereas for energy aware scheduling, it will be the least. Why? Because there will be lot of number of tasks that the cloud provider has to manage, as we are as our mobile user is offloading more number of tasks onto remote cloud, and offloading more number of tasks onto a remote cloud will definitely extend much task till Tmax value, because of the uh, lack of resources. Again, this is as we increase the number of reserved virtual machines, then as you can see here, in case of your VM grouping algorithm, average waiting time is less compared to delay slot scheduling algorithm. Why? Because in case of VM grouping algorithm, uh, we will assign that task to that PM which will be having less waiting time. So this will be the disadvantage of our proposed algorithm. That means average waiting time of all tasks will be somewhat higher. Similarly, resource utilization. So as we increase the number of reserved virtual machines, it will somewhat it's not like monotonically increasing, but you can see that with increase in reserved VMs, resource utilization also increases, and resource utilization will be at any point resource utilization will be higher for delay slot scheduling algorithm. Also, energy consumed by delay slot scheduling algorithm will be much higher as compared to that of the energy aware scheduling algorithm. Energy consumed in case of the energy aware scheduling algorithm will be lesser, because in that case most of the tasks will be offloaded onto the cloud, so the mobile device really has a small number of tasks to execute, so lower energy of mobile device will be consumed. Now let's see this comparison between broker and non-broker scenario. So this red one is without broker and this blue one is with broker. So as we can see, if we take any algorithm, whether it is instant slot, energy aware or delay slot scheduling algorithm, always with broker we can achieve better performance, Why? Because number of on-demand virtual machines in case of number of on-demand virtual machines will always be less in any algorithm as compared to without broker scenario. Why? Because broker will reserve a large chunk of reserved virtual machines because of the larger availability of capital. So the performance with broker will always be better. So this tells or this suggests why our user should subscribe to the broker instead of directly going and subscribing to the cloud provider. So in conclusion, this task scheduling is in mobile cloud computing is a NP hard problem. So we can solve this problem by using some heuristics, and it is still an active topic of research. And in this particular work, we have provided we have given the cloud providers VM allocation problem, uh, or we have proposed a scheduling algorithm that will maximize the profit of the broker, and along with that it will also minimize the pricing that user has to pay if, uh, if he goes to the broker instead of directly subscribing to the cloud provider. And we have proposed this deferred slot scheduling algorithm. We have considered various parameters such as task priority, deadline, arrival time, etc. And we proposed a pricing plan that provides fair price for each VM by using the proposed price that particular formula. Like if a task is delayed by if depending on how much number of time slots the task is delayed, its pricing will be determined. And so that our scheme will attract more users and maximize the so this will increase our brokers revenue as well as its profit. And we have also shown the experimental results in order to convey our ideas much better. So that's pretty much it from my side. So folks, I hope you like my presentation, and if you have any questions, please feel to ask me. My defense is scheduled on 29th June. Until then, goodbye.